everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Corley's Corner. We are making this podcast to share all the information that's coming up for the USMF, especially the World Games qualifiers. There's so much going on so fast, all the time, every day, something new. So we want to make sure everybody's up to date and knows why these qualifiers are so important. Jeff, can you tell us why the qualifiers are so important?
Well, first, thanks for everyone for joining in our second episode, and really it's only like weeks away. I remember when we first started this, and it was just kind of like the idea, and now everything is coming into fruition. The USMF World Games qualifiers is really important because it's really going to show who's the best in America. Like we're gonna let you guys know later all of the weight classes and different people that have actually been invited and included into the tournament. Is almost like a star-studded event in regards to the who's who of the best Muay Thai athletes, male and female, in the nation. These people that will win the tournament will have a chance to earn gold medals at the coveted World Games, the World Games itself in July in Alabama. So that's why it's really important, is to really figure out who our best talents are to help us represent America on the world stage of Thai boxing at the World Games. So I'm really excited to really get there and see the event and all the spectators and how amazing the event will be. It's one of a kind.
I think for everybody who has been calling for something like this, saying, oh, well, the best should fight the best, this is your chance. You guys shouldn't miss out. Buy tickets. Tickets are on sale right now. We still have a limited offer of the first 100. By the time this episode comes out, who knows if that's still available, but tickets are available right now and they're going fast.
I think we sold 50, 60 tickets of the pre-sales for the 4 days, and it's only been like a week and a half. So once those 100 tickets are sold, probably by the time this comes out, ticket prices are going to increase and they're going to be probably cost more at the door. We're also going to have a live stream, which we're locking down, which is going to be pretty cool. We can't really give all the details yet, but it's going to be a really amazing live stream. We're working hard on not just live streaming it, but all the intricacies of graphics and motion and video that's like incorporated with the live stream that we're trying to provide. It's going to be another experience for people that want to watch this that can't come to Denver to support in person.
And not only is there the World Games qualifiers, there's also the IFMA qualifiers that are selecting the athletes that are going to go to Abu Dhabi. And Jeff, do you want to talk about that? Why are we doing the IFMA qualifiers?
Yeah, so if you notice, people were kind of saying that, well, how come not all of the weight classes were represented in the World Games qualifiers? And that's not a USMF decision. It's a decision by the World Games itself. There's only specific weight categories that are involved in the World Games. So we decided to have a tournament for the weight classes that weren't included. Those individuals that win the weight classes that aren't included in the World Games have a seat at the World Championships that IFMA holds. So there's a big difference, okay? The World Championships that IFMA holds happens every year. This is where all the country's best athletes come to compete for gold medals. This is pretty much our annual Olympic Games for Thai boxing. The winners of these tournaments earn points and they have seats and get invited to the World Games. So to reiterate, in order for you to fight at the World Games, you have to medal at an international tournament. So what we're doing now is we're trying to give people the experience that mostly people don't have to fight international talent at the highest level. So the people that are involved in the IFMA World Championship qualifiers, they'll have a seat with the USMF team that will be fighting in Abu Dhabi. So they'll have more international experience. And what we're trying to do is build a team, give them more experience, and invest in our athletes to give them a chance to fight at the highest level. Again, these weight brackets are stacked as well, right? We're going to talk about that going forward, but all of these weight classes are stacked, even though they're not fighting for the World Games. So it really makes it really competitive. I also want to say that from my understanding, if you win gold and silver, you'll have a chance to compete in Abu Dhabi to keep you fresh, to keep you active before the World Games, right? Because the last thing we want are our athletes to win a medal and not be active trying to find one-off fights that they could get injured at. We would rather have you have a seat at a world championship team, prep you to fight international athletes, because that's what's going to happen at the World Games. So that's kind of like our trajectory. I'm hoping I can get Michael Corley on in this episode as well. I'm going to try to interview him later and kind of have him go over that too, to supplement into our interview. And you can hear it from the president yourself. So this is a really awesome time for all of us.
And also during the qualifiers, because it's I guess you would call it like a little bit of a Muay Thai festival. We have a referee and judging seminar with Gunter Plank, who I interview later on. He's like the who's who of Muay Thai, does all the IFMA rules, Muay Thai rules, is a great expert in that. So that seminar is also available during the week of the qualifiers. It's something you shouldn't miss. If you're an athlete, a coach, or just a fan, you want to be better at the sport, it's something you should participate in. We have so many sponsors, so many vendors at the event that you're going to be able to, buy gear, like a little mall almost, so it's going to be a really fun time.
Yeah, I think like all of our vendors and sponsors that are going to be there are actually people that love our sport, that want to help push our sports better, that understands the importance of this event. So we've been releasing all of our sponsors, and we're really proud to partner with them. We're really grateful for their support. And, these are the people that really understand how important and valuable this tournament is. Yeah, like you said about Gunter, that's going to be pretty amazing. I'm glad you had a chance to sit and talk with him. I'm sure that a lot of people will watch that episode because they'll find out what they're in store for. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the coaches clinic, so they're two separate things that what's going to happen at the festival, not the festival. We're calling it a festival. It is a festival, but to us it's a festival. But the World Games qualifiers, it was supposed to be the coaches clinic and a judge and referee. Of course, it's Gunter. The coaches clinic is canceled, and people should be receiving their money back if you registered. If not, send an email to info@usamuaythai.sport to get your refund. But now we're really focusing on such an amazing workshop with Gunter. Like Perry said, it's not just for coaches and referees. It's for athletes too, and people that want to be educated in the sport. Think about going. Me as a photographer, if I wanted to learn better technique, I'd go to a photographer that I admired or that had a skill set, and I'd want to learn from them and apply that to my own work. So now you could learn from the actual person that enforces the international rule set, bring that into your fight game, into your gym, and install that into your athletes. Your athletes will also understand what they're watching and how to score better. So I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's what episode 3 is going to be about, and they should watch that.
Awesome. And just a little note about that, Jeff mentions being a photographer, looking for mentorship during this festival, tournament, qualifiers, everything that's going on. Jeff is also hosting a little media clinic, and we have some really excellent, excited photographers that are participating who are going to get hands-on experience the same way I did as I was preparing for IFMA, except I learned in Thailand with no sleep and a lot of stress. This time they get a little easier preparation into what an IFMA experience looks like. So we're really excited to work with these photographers and to prepare them. And Jeff is going to teach them a lot of stuff.
I think Perry's a little pissed off because I put her through the hard knocks of USA Muay Thai photography. I'm relentless. I'm a tyrant when I shoot. I take no breaks. I sleep when the job is done type of person. And I can't enforce that on everyone. No one can be like me and have my drive. I can't expect that. But I expected that as a Perry on her first international trip, shooting an international tournament by herself. She survived. She came back. She wanted to learn more. So kudos to her. Her work has increased tremendously. I hope I was a big part of that, and not just the crying and the sadness and the long emails you sent me. But I promise to be a little bit more easy. But I know she's upset that I'm not going to put them through school hard knocks.
I want them to get I want you to send them a message at 3 a.m. Are the photos done? I want everybody, even though we're all in the same time zone this time.
I mean, to be fair, that's like 9 o'clock my time. So, I mean, I'm working, right? I'm working. So, but yeah, I wanted to also open this up publicly. I just don't have the capacity to do that. So, unfortunately, there are people that were kind of asking what it would cost and if they could apply, but I just don't have the capacity to hold a larger media clinic because I'm actually working the event as well and teaching. So if you guys are interested in something like an actual media clinic day, I would be interested in seeing who would be willing to participate, and I could probably hold that quarterly around the year, different parts of the United States to help people with photography, their business, their branding, and I think it'd be really valuable to the community itself.
For certain. And I think last thing we're going to say before we move forward, but as far as our time now in this day and age, being able to utilize media is so beneficial to everybody, whether you're an athlete who's trying to promote yourself, a gym that's trying to get students in, or someone that is just passionate about the sport. What I've learned is it takes more than having a good eye. There's contracts to navigate and insurance, which I don't know. I've been doing this. I still haven't learned the insurance stuff. I get in trouble all the time. But this is all really valuable information that's super helpful to get from someone who's been in the sport for a very, very, very long time with as much age expertise.
Not that long.
Very just on that upper anyways, so I would just say take advantage. Definitely something awesome to be a part of and something I wish I had when I was in the US and not crying in Thailand. So last thing before we jump into our athletes, I got a fan question over the week, and that question was, why is it called Corley's Corner? Because I listened to the whole episode looking for Michael Corley and there was no Michael Corley. So I would like to say, hopefully, Jeff, you pop Corley in somewhere during this episode. But initially, this started as having conversations with Jeff after our media meetings. And I think I'm very funny. So I was like, this should be a podcast. And also, we were talking about good information, but mostly I think I'm funny. So I think Jeff came up with a name like, yeah, we should call it Corley's Corner. And then Mike could jump in and give some advice. And I don't know if Michael really loves social media. I don't know what it is, but he might not always make an appearance on every episode. But the name is in his spirit, and it's funny. That's the point. It's funny.
People don't know, but Michael Corley has been in every episode so far. You just can't see him. His mic was broken in the last episode, and we hope to fix his mic and his camera next time. But he was definitely involved in the last episode.
He
co-signs on all of our episodes and says it's really cool. And hopefully we'll have him on this episode and the Gunter episode, just kind of giving a little bit of stuff here and there. Mike's a busy dude. Doesn't really fuck with the social media as much as we do because that's kind of like our job with the USMS. But you know, he's everywhere. He's everywhere.
And on
Thank you for the question.
And if you have any questions, send a message to the Instagram, the USA Muaythai Instagram, or you can send us an email at media@usamuaythai.sport. So moving forward, let's talk about these athletes because there's a lot of them. So let's dive into this.
Go ahead and let us know what's happening with our meals.
So first, the men's division in general is super stacked. So I would like to say, ladies, next time I want to see more of y'all. Like, there's so many great female athletes in the US. You got to apply. You got to put your name in there. And if you think you could do it, just do it. Put yourself out there because I see these brackets full of the males super filled in, and I wish it was the same for the women's. But that being said, we have so many great competitors in the males division. We'll start with the smallest weight class first, the 57 kilos. And right away, there's some names that really stand out. For one, Austin Amell out of Jacksonville, Florida. He fought for the USMF back in 2019. He makes a small appearance, big appearance, some appearance in Jeff's documentary. And really great athlete, really nice guy. His coach is super nice too. I'm really excited to see him again.
Definitely. I know that Jamie Heath has also been a USMF athlete before, coming out of Crew Pat's gym. And that's going to be pretty interesting as well. There is Jake Ramirez from LA training out of Oregon Training Academy. I know a lot of the West Coast athletes pretty well. There's Cody Sessions, who is a professional fighter coming out of the Inland Empire area of California. And I think those are the people that I'm mostly familiar with. There is Akram from Saxon Janjira. I think that's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be a pretty competitive fight for the smaller weight guys. There's Jared Roca from Premier Fight and Fitness. There's a lot of new guys that I'm not really familiar with, but there are some major gyms that are representing, like Rami. He has Waleed, David Fisher from Dan Gym. I think he won C class at the USMCO. There's Jamar Cooper from Iron Muay Thai, and Matt Munoz from Ohana Academy. So this is and Tyrese Cunningham from Militia Fight Academy. This is really stacked. I mean, this is going to be a long night for these guys. If you've ever been to a tournament that's stacked, the first day is going to be grueling. So it's going to be interesting to see how these athletes, their game plans for the first round of the tournament. Do you have any other input in regards to this weight class, Barry?
Well, I know one of the guys, his name's Mikey Sadlowski, and he's this tall, thin guy, and they call him Beefcake. So I think that's great.
Lots of beefcakes happening in that
yeah,
weight class.
I think that's a great nickname for this weight class. No, it's really awesome. And I think right away when you see this first bracket, right, we have people all over the US, and even, I mean, Hawaii is the US, but like not on the land part,
Not continental.
Yeah, there you go.
We need Australia. No, not Australia, Alaska. And we need Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands to come represent, please. We need Panama.
Guam.
Because it's a territory. Guam.
US
we need more representation. Yeah, exactly. We need more representation.
So you can see that it is all over the US. So it's really the best of the best. And I'm super excited. Also, something Jeff said earlier about Cody being pro, and some of these athletes are amateur fighters. I believe Jamie is a pro too. So you're going to see
pros versus
amateurs.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good test for everyone. First the pros are going to have to make sure that they're there, and why the reason they call themselves professionals, they're going to have to defend that status. And these amateurs have nothing to lose. So it's really cool to see high level amateurs come. They've been invited. They have made like the requirements. So this is why this tournament is much different from any of the tournaments that you'll ever see in the United States. Is because other tournaments, you pay to play. You pay to play, you sign up, you fight, you get matched up. This one, you have to meet a criteria. You have to have X amount of fights, X amount of wins, been active X amount of time. And then you get reviewed, and then you get to fight. So what happens is there needs to be a criteria for our tournaments, which is what I love. All the other tournaments are great. We still need all that. We need more tournaments. We need more opportunities for athletes. But our tournament right now, I have to say, is very special.
For certain. And so moving forward to our next weight class, which is the 63.5 kilos. And if you're paying attention to numbers, there's a weight class that's missing in the middle. That's an IFMA weight class. So that's why it's not included here in the World Games. We have Austin Streecher, Daniel Gonzalez, David Rodriguez, Diego Jagasar, Diego Paez, Donovan McKiver, Eric Luna, Jeremy Sanchez, Joseph Mueller, Malcolm Hill, Nathan Bennett, Oliver Jimenez, Philip Ignacio, and Sean Climaco. So right away, some names, bop, 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 bop. And also I see some rematches here that are really exciting.
Well, what's tripping me out is I see two athletes from USA Muaythai. Is that correct?
On my end, that's what I found. So I'm not sure if this is the most accurate, but if it is, I don't know. Those two guys are, well, there are people training together who are going to fight. Lisa Lynn and Natalie Morgan, I believe, are in the same weight class, and they're training together and they're going to fight. So I don't know, more power to you if you can train with your opponent.
We'll talk about those ladies in a second, but this weight class is pretty interesting. I know Diego well. I've documented a couple of his fights. He is probably one of the most entertaining amateurs that we've had. Diego Paez, yeah, he was almost, I think he was like 10-0 as an amateur, and then he fought a gentleman that is one of the champions here, who's Brandel Mendoza, and they fought to a draw. I think he lost to Sean Climaco as the second pro fight. So there are going to be a lot of, rematches here. Speaking of Sean Climaco, I've seen him just knock a lot of people out with hands. He has dynamite in his hands. There's something about him that when he touches your chin, you end up dropping. There's also Eric Luna, right? So Eric Luna is one of our very first gold medalists in the B class for IFMA, so he is a veteran. Not only saying he's a veteran with the USMF, but he is a veteran in the sport. He's one of the only guys I know that gets flown from the West Coast to New York to whoop everyone in New York. My understanding, he hasn't lost in New York, right?
No, he does a great job every time he comes.
I'm just saying, he's just whooping people in New York. He ran through a lot of people, including, I believe he beat Joseph Mueller, correct?
Yeah, that was super bloody. Great for pictures. Scary if you're someone close to them. You see cuts all over their head and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, both of them were bloody. It wasn't just a one-sided fight. It was from the photograph that you showed and shared. I was like, damn, this is a fucking crazy fight. Shout out to Friday Night Fights for putting out great fights for our athletes to showcase themselves on. Also, there's Malcolm Hill, right? And Malcolm Hill recently was a USMF competitor. Am I correct by saying that? And you were out on that trip, and you got to see him compete, and now he has international experience. On top of that, fighting for, I believe it's Triumphant, correct?
Triumphant, and I think
Warriors Cup?
Warriors Cup. I was going to say Warriors 9 because it's on.
Yeah, that's Chris Chan's promotion, correct?
Yeah.
And Triumphant and Jeff Kors is a promotion that, everyone has been involved with in helping the sport grow in the United States. Philip Ignacio is also kind of like a quiet on the social media tip, but has been a badass dude. And he was also a part of the South American Championships for the USMF. He didn't medal there, but he does have international experience. And he fought, I think, in the most recent, I could be mistaken, the most recent Triumph Combat Sports event in Mexico. I think he did really well there. Man, I mean, this weight class is just crazy. Donovan McIver, a new high-level pro from Boxing Works, who won B class at the USMTO, is undefeated. He is trying to make his mark in a statement coming from Inglewood, the city of champions in Los Angeles. So he's probably one of the only dudes on this really representing LA. So I'm excited to see him fight. What other thoughts do you have about this weight class?
Well, I'm excited to see some of these East Coast guys get to stand out and shine a little bit. Jeremy Sanchez is someone that for some time was in New York City. I think now he's in California. He's a great fighter, great competitor. Also, I see Diego Jagasar. His coach is affiliated with Andy Sauer, and they were talking about bringing Andy out to the qualifiers. So maybe me and Andy will be on the same plane from Amsterdam to Denver if he'll sit next to me. So yeah, there's really great fighters. And like I said, it's nice to see people coming out of Texas, out of California, out of Florida. Yeah. So Joseph Mueller, who's out of Florida Kickboxing Academy, he has 3 other teammates with him on this. So I can imagine it's going to be really nice for all of them to be together.
Yeah, he comes out of Ace's gym, and Ace is a veteran, and so is Luis Morales, who we'll talk about later, and Steven Bobenchuk. So he comes from a team of killers that, just want to bring it. So that's going to be really interesting. So we also have Nathan Bennett, Oliver Jimenez from Corley's gym. I think those are all of the folks that are on this roster of light welterweight. So again, that's deep. That's a huge bracket, and it's going to be really interesting because it's a mix of pros and amateurs. And I'm really excited to see this bracket.
Awesome. So we'll move to welterweight, which is 67 kilograms, and the names on this is Abel Lara, Andre Finley, Asa Tenpao, sorry, Caleb Salazar, Chris Perez, Ethan Geffen, Johnny O'Neill, Sean Gorman, Ciaran Harrison, Travis Petralba, Tyler Duangse, Wilson Ha. I hate that I can't pronounce anybody's name. I'm really sorry. You guys pronounce my name bad too, so don't worry.
Me too, don't trip. I'm familiar with a couple of these people. First of all, Asa Tenpao, one of America's poster boys for really pushing our sport forward. He recently beat our legend Kevin Ross at the Triumph to Combat Sports in Florida, which was like almost a passing of the guard. He's experimented with MMA. He's also, people don't know, a Golden Gloves champion. So he has really great Western boxing. He's one of the only Americans to have beaten a Thai at the A-class level at IFMA. I think he's the very first. And that spread all around the world like wildfire. He's been through multiple tournaments from Belarus to Cancun, and has just, he's grown with our sport. And it was really interesting to see him really want a gold medal. I've spoken to him personally, and his dream is to earn a gold medal at the Olympics. And now he's on a trajectory there. So it's going to be really interesting to see how well he does, because this is also a very stacked card with people like Chris Paez, Diego Paez's brother. There's also Wilson Ha, who is a brand new pro from Sityodtong in LA, from Walter Michalowski. There's Johnny O'Neill, who is a high-level pro from Boxing Works.
Is Johnny pro now?
No, he's a high-level amateur, I'm sorry. High-level amateur from Boxing Works.
I was like, he's too young.
Yeah, Perry, you shot him since he was a kid, so you have experience with him as well.
It's weird that he has like facial hair now, because he looks like a man. And when I saw him in IFMA in Thailand, he was this young 14, 15-year-old kid. So it's nice to see these athletes growing up and still competing and still wanting to be involved and be a part of the USMF.
Right. And then going forward, we also have Caleb Salazar, who I know as Caleb Cisneros, from LA Muay Thai, and he won A-class at the USMTO. So he also competes in Western boxing, which is going to also be, really interesting in how he does at this tournament as well. There's Andre Findley as well from Chicago Muay Thai. I also see 2 people from Classic Fight Team, which is interesting because that's Abel Lara and Chris Paez. I wonder how that's going to work out. And 2 people from Chicago Muay Thai, actually. Ciaran,
I really hope we got this information right.
Yeah, I hope we have this information right, but this is what it is, and this is the information we have, so we're going with it. I think this is also a very deep bracket too, and very high level, exciting people, both pro and amateur. So I'm excited to see how that does.
Yeah, and as I said, I got to show the East Coasters some love, even though I was
Yeah.
born and raised in California. I spent most of my career in New York, and I see Ethan Geffen, who is also a firefighter. So
Wow.
he's a
Respect.
great, yeah, wonderful person, saving lives, doing actual important stuff. And I see Sean Gorman out of Eight Limbs Academy. He's Kate and Charlie's fighter for a very
Right.
long time. Great
Shout out to
athlete.
Kate and Charlie.
They were at the first IFMA, no, not first,
The
the
Belarus.
2017. Yeah.
Belarus, yeah.
And then we see Tyler out of, I think Chonburi is Tennessee or Nashville. Well, no, that's the same thing.
I believe it's Tennessee. Yeah, they're somewhere in Tennessee.
So yeah, we get to see people from all over. I know some of these guys have competed before in different tournaments. Also, there are some weight class moves. This is a tournament that you have to weigh in every day. So I do see
Right.
some athletes going up a little bit higher so they're not struggling so hard to make that weight every morning.
Right. Yeah, Ethan's coming out of Sitan Gym, which is also Aziz, ran by Aziz, who has been a USMF coach for many years. Shout out to Aziz as well. He's been a very important part of our USMF teams in helping us win medals internationally.
Awesome. So let's move on to the light middleweight, 71 kilograms. And this is actually one of the smaller divisions that I see, but still some hard hitters nonetheless. We have Anthony Young, Eddie Abasolo, Gerby Noel, James's Taylor, Jordan Weiland, Caleb Hunter, Luis Morales, Luke Leslie, Nick Chastain. So right away, some big names in this bracket. For one,
Man.
I'm super excited to see Eddie Abasolo fight. I saw him fight at Lion Fight a few years ago, and I don't remember how it happened, but there's so many pictures that he's carrying some guy on his shoulder, and it was like this whole thing, and just really great, athletic, great movement. Like they call him Silky Smooth for a reason, you know?
I think that even though this weight class only has 9 competitors, I think this is probably the most action-packed because these are 90% all pros, 80% all pros. You have Nick Chastain, who's a veteran. I've seen him as a young man, as an amateur, work his way up to fighting professionally. Luke Lisi, I've seen him as an amateur fight multiple times for IFMA, for the USMS, and then make his pro debut and just beautiful Thai boxing. Luis Morales, same. I've seen him as an amateur win gold medals for the USA team, and him turning pro. Jordan Whelan, same thing. I've seen him compete at Pan Americans. Now he's turned pro. Eddie Abasolo, same thing. I've seen him be an amateur turn into a pro, and now he's one of the top athletes for Muay Thai in the United States. So this is pretty freaking crazy, right? Like, we have never had a professional tournament ever. Only things that happen like this are like K1 Grand Prix, right? Glory Grand Prix. So this is something pretty interesting that people should really tune into. This is really going to solidify who's the best at 156 pounds, 171 kilos. Because if this doesn't, then I don't know what else the United States needs to do. If you were invited to compete in this weight class and you denied it, you really did yourself a disservice. You're really telling yourself that you don't want to compete with these guys. Whether it's money or not, this is something that as an athlete, I think you should prove yourself with, because you'll be undisputedly the best in this weight class amongst these talented fighters.
I think also, just as you mentioned, there's pros. Most of the time when fighters are fighting for a specific promotion, they don't get the opportunity to fight outside of that promotion. And I see in this division athletes who have competed for Lion Fight, for Triumphant, for Glory. So it's not an opportunity that comes every time to fight really these names in the US. For one, like Nick Chastain, I know he was with Glory. Eddie Abasolo, I think, was with Lion Fight for some time. So seeing these guys go head to head, or possibly go head to head, we don't know the draw yet. It's just something that it's not an opportunity that comes often, if ever.
Man, it'd be really crazy to see Eddie Abasolo versus Nick Chastain just because they have like the most experience, or Luke Lisi and Nick Chastain because of height levels. I think Jordan Whelan and Luis Morales would be like a really crazy matchup too. Any of these guys drawn together is just going to be an amazing fight, and this is something people should really pay attention to.
Yeah, and it's cool to see Bushido Muay Thai, Manny's gym. I see them all over this division and across the qualifiers in general. I see Dan's gym often. Again, Florida Kickboxing Academy. Just seeing the same gyms over and over again. So I'm expecting all these guys are training really hard. They have each other to push each other very far. You know.
Shout out to Mango Tree as well. I think they're from Hawaii and they're representing the island. So, you know, you guys are always represented here too. So it's really cool to see an inclusive tournament.
So let's move on to light heavyweight, 81 kilograms. And we have Aaron Ortiz, Gilbert Pimentel, Jabril Alim, Kuchlong, Nikita Chubb, Reginald Ledford, Ryan Rutherford, Spencer Mix, Stephen Bobanchuk, Will McCutcheon, and Zach Bunnell. Bunnell. All right, so Aaron Ortiz, our newest gold medalist for IFMA 1B class, very heroic fight. I think that one was very neck and neck, and I just remember everybody holding their breath. We're waiting for them to do the scores, and he won, and so triumphant. He's had such a great 2 years of fighting, so I'm super excited to see him in this division.
Yeah, and he's coming out the East Coast, right?
Yeah, out of Massachusetts, Team Link Muay Thai.
Awesome. I'm really happy to see that Aaron has a chance to compete here as a gold medalist for the USMF. I feel that they should always have a chance to compete as long as they meet the requirements. I'm excited to see him fight. I heard nothing but great things about him during the tournament from you and Marty and the rest of the team that was out there. Zach Brunel is an OG USMF fighter as well. You know, he competed for us way before we had social media, and you know, he's well, and he's also been a lion fight fighter as well. So, I mean, man, I could be mistaken. I think he's also fought for Triumph to Combat. So he's very active. Stephen Bobanchuk made his pro debut at Triumphant as well, and he's also fought for the USMF team. And you know, that's just great coming out of ACE's team. So all those guys at Florida Kickboxing Academy, they've been putting in work. They're getting ready for that. So they're a team to look out for. Spencer Mix is a high-level amateur. I've seen him fight consistently and beat a lot of the top talent in the Los Angeles West Coast area for the past 5 years. He's just one of those guys that has a really great style, and Julio from Saxon knows what he's capable of doing. So I'd love to see how he does.
I really like that, you know, usually for USMTO or TBAs, I think often you get a lot of the coastal fighters. You don't always see the Midwest, maybe TBAs because it's in Iowa, so it's easier for those Midwest fighters to get over. But I am seeing people, I think Reginald is out of Striking Institute, which I think is Caitlin Young's gym, right?
Nice. In Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota. So it's nice to see the Midwest be represented too. Like we've been saying this whole time, it's not we want to see the best of the United States. And one reason why Denver, Colorado was selected wasn't to test everybody with that elevation. It was because it was a neutral area for sanctioning and was like a neutral area for athletes to compete so that we could really follow IFMA rules, have it as close as possible to the World Games. And it's, I think, cool to see that all these athletes in different parts of the US, like we've been saying, Hawaii and other parts are making their way to Denver for this opportunity.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good thing to say about the elevation. It had nothing to do with giving people an advantage. It was about the ability for us to throw lot of Chicago Muay Thai athletes being represented in this tournament. So shout out to Chicago Muay Thai for having a talented team and being accepted in this tournament. So I'm excited to see how your team does because you guys almost have so far in every category.
Yeah, it looks like I see their name a lot, and like we said before, Bushido. So it's nice to see some fresh gyms, like people who are going to get the opportunity to possibly compete for the USMF for the first time. I think that says how much our sport is growing, that people in different states and different gyms are getting the opportunity.
Definitely.
So let's finish off the males with the heavyweight, 91 kilograms. We have Jacob Rodriguez, Jan Nunez, Lavelle Wesley, and Matt Baker.
This is a small tournament with the biggest dudes. This is 4 massive dudes. I know for a fact Matt Baker is just a problem. He's just a bad dude. He fights with conviction. He wants to hurt you. He's been in front of some of the toughest athletes in glory. Bay Area representative, trains with Jong Sanan, Wooden Man. And if anyone knows about Jong Sanan, and you should, he's one of the best trainers and fighters that has ever been on the planet Earth, a golden era fighter. Jacob Rodriguez, another big dude, hits really fucking hard and wants to hurt you. Trains out of Corley Muay Thai. Those guys, it's not Corley Muay Thai, but Heritage Muay Thai. With Michael Corley. Hey, goddamn it, I make mistakes.
Change the name of the gym too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And he's just a bad dude also. Scary guy, but fucking super nice. I remember meeting him at the Pan Americans, and I was like, God damn, this dude is just massive and knocked the dude out, had an easy tournament. I'm assuming that all these guys here, Jan and Lavelle, if they touch you the right way, you're gonna fall real gently and you're gonna go to sleep. So even though they don't have a deep bracket, it's also gonna be a very interesting tournament because I'm assuming these are big dudes if they're 91 kilos. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about this weight class, Perry?
Well, I would like to say, because you said about Jacob being so sweet, like these are the biggest guys, but they are the nicest. They are so sweet, nice people. So seeing them in the ring is a little different. Their faces change and they become like little warriors. And so that's always interesting for me as a photographer to see that transition. But yeah, I think Matt is number 5 ranked in glory. Jan Nunez is also coming out of the same gym as Caleb Hunter, so another person with a teammate here. And
that's Coach Steve, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Coach Steve too.
So yeah, big guys, small division. I just hope no one falls on me when I'm trying to take the picture. So.
And Lavelle's coming out of North Shore Muay Thai, which I'm assuming is Hawaii as well. So I'm excited to see this tournament. That is going to be crazy too. So we have an action-packed men's division.
Long day.
Like, man, everything from our lightest weight class to our heaviest weight class have killers in it. So that's really exciting.
So let's move on to the ladies, and we can start with the smallest but mightiest, the 48 kilograms light flyweight women's division. We have Yanette Garcia, Jeannie Nguyen, Jessie Lee, Kennedy Riley Mays, Natalie Salcedo, and Teddy Mandala. And yeah, this one is the one I think I'm the most excited for. I've seen all these ladies compete. Super, super great competitors. They're all very fast, surprisingly very, very strong. And this division always has super exciting fights.
Yeah, they're just all very competitive. I'm seeing gyms like AKA, right? Dan's Gym, Hard Knocks Boston, Team Toro, Thai Boxing Institute, and Warrior Fit. Those gyms alone have really great reputations for having tremendous athletes. Janet has just been a terror. She's a fucking problem. I know that for sure. I've seen her just terrorize her opponents flies to New York and just hurts people. I've heard of Jeannie win. I haven't seen her fight personally, but I know her coach Victor, and he runs a really great program there. And his team has just been advancing and winning in these tournaments. Jesse Lee is coming out of my friend's gym, Jake Manini, and he's a solid dude, has really great coaching skills, and it shows in Jesse and her just amazing year she had. She won USMTO. I think, did she do well in the TBAs as well? I'm not too sure if she did well in the TBAs, but she also beat Jessica Ng, who was one of our veteran fighters for the USMS in New York. Kennedy is a close friend of mine, fights out of Dan's gym, and Dan's gym just trains like dogs. And Kennedy, in her first USMS experience, won silver on the world stage in B class, which was very hard to do. And she was really impressive. She ended up winning another fight in the East Coast for the Super Series against Yasmin. And I lost to Yanette recently and Natalie Salcedo after that. So speaking of Natalie Salcedo, she was also a part of the World Championships in Cancun, where she had to fight a very tough French fighter, but she did really well. And then we have another IFMA veteran at the youth division who is now an adult, Teddy Mandela. How did you see Teddy as a youth athlete? How did she do when you were there?
I've seen Teddy fight at TBAs, and I think she fought Inez, who was a very tough athlete also for the youth team. Teddy's super tough. Like, she's a really sweet, nice young lady outside the ring, but inside it's game time. And I think that's something I could say about all these competitors. Really nice, easygoing, down to earth people, and then in the ring, they want to hurt you. They want to end the fight. Like you were saying about Yanette, I've seen people throw in the towel when Yanette is fighting. So puts that really shows like what to expect from this division. This isn't something to like skim past on because they're the smaller fighters.
Right, and she's coming out of Team Toro, who's Coach Ricardo is a part of the USMF as well. That's going to be really interesting to see his fight. Again, a lot of these, Natalie Salcedo has more of an MMA background, but has been very competitive in the Muay Thai division. Kennedy Riley has amazing technical skill and IQ with Thai boxing. And Jessie Lee, she's a new up and comer, and it's really be interesting to see what the draw is. You know what I mean? I think it would be really interesting to see Natalie Salcedo versus Yanis Garcia, because I don't think they've ever faced each other before, and I think that would be a really fight that would like grind. I would like to see maybe Kennedy Riley and Jessie Lee get matched up, because I think stylistically they kind of have a similar style, and that would be really interesting. But yeah, I think if they draw any of them, it's going to be such a competitive weight class. I'm looking forward to this weight class too.
So moving on to the flyweight, 51 kilograms, we have Angela Barr, Kaya Knowles, Janine Pia, and Lael Shafee. And this is basically all four corners of the U.S. Angela's West, Kaya's California, Janine is Philly, and Lael is Florida. So these four women meeting here. This is super exciting as well. Kaya just came back from IFMA. She performed well, especially for her first time going. Janine is someone who is taking every fight and beating everybody, it feels like.
For sure.
Angela had a great year. Layout, also great fighter. All four of these women are women that I know. I think it says a lot when a fighter's willing to take something last minute or, late notice. And all four of these competitors I know have done something along that. I think Kaya stepped into TBAs or USMTO, something like that, on training after a week, or made a week decision, something like that. Leal stepped into, I think, a fight against Teddy recently. That's also something I'd like to talk about. Like, we see the 112ers and the 105ers, and a lot of these athletes have fought each other, but they're in different weight classes, and I think that's due to the daily weigh-in. So some of these people are meeting each other for the first time, like Janine and Kaya, right? That maybe they wouldn't usually meet, because outside of this tournament, I think people are in different weight classes.
Right. I'm just shocked that there aren't any more 51 kilogram athletes in this bracket. I know that the women's division is deeper than that. I'm just wondering how come there aren't any more female athletes. I'd love to see more representation in this weight class. But like you said, yeah, I'm familiar with Kaya. I've seen her win the USMTO by herself without a coach. I think Danny Brandt was cornering her, and she went there with no team except for like another teammate, and she won it all by herself. Janine also, like you said, I just seen her compete just frequently. I think I saw her at the USMTO, then a couple weeks later she's fighting somewhere else. So I know that she's really active, and I know that she is a really kind person as well, and she's also an artist. So that's really cool to see her compete.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm really happy to see Layao in this tournament as well. Layao, I remember she fought Yanette in 2019. That was a battle between the two. It was a great fight. And Angela as well, that Midwest representation. Angela has been around for a long time, has been chasing rounds. So it's really awesome. Even though this is a smaller division, I think the athletes that are in there are really just fierce competitors.
Definitely, I agree with that.
So moving on to bantamweight, 54 kilograms. This one's a little bit fuller, and I will say this again, ladies, next time put your name in this. Like, I can think of so many great athletes that I wish were competing, or I wish that had applied. So yeah, don't doubt yourself, put your name in. But anyways, moving on, 54 kilograms. We have Amy Duke, Ashley Thiner, Coral Carnicella, Kendra McIntyre, Summer Bronco, and Ty Lee. Wow, this is
Thai, you said Thai.
I'm sorry.
Where's the TH in her name?
Sorry, Ty. No, I know your name. I'm just a little nervous being in front of everybody. So we also have a few USMF athletes in this bracket as well. Ashley, Coral, Summer, all have represented the United States, all have done absolutely amazing jobs. I think Ashley won gold in Korea, right? 2019?
Yeah, I think for the Asian Games or something like that.
Yeah, she won gold. Coral is, I think, the first American woman to be a Thai in IFMA, right?
At the A class. She beat so many.
In A class.
In A class in Thailand. Coral is a really amazing athlete, and she's very talented. She has a different fight style and utilizes her footwork a lot. She's a problem too. She won gold in the South American Championships. She won silver in the World Championships, and she beat Chomani, who has twice as many fights as she does, already fights professionally for Glory, and Coral did that as an amateur. So that's something to say about Coral and her ability to compete. Ashley Steiner is also just a competitive athlete. She's always trained. She's always in camp. She takes MMA fights as well, does jujitsu. And now she's training out of steel with my friend Carl. And I think that's going to be an interesting change for her. I want to see how that works out for her. I think that's going to be really interesting. Amy Duke is also an athlete that's just been wanting to find fights. She wants to fight, looking for fights all the time. And she understood that this is her chance. And she's just been training hard as she can. I think, she just dedicated, once she got accepted and registered, she dedicated pretty much her life to training for this event. So I know how much this means to her. Summer Bronco, she recently fought, I think she said the other, is it Layla? She fought Layla, Summer Bronco? Or she fought Pedro? Yeah, Leal, yeah.
I
think
don't.
Summer
Summer was an
fought Amy.
IFNA.
Summer fought Amy in New York.
Yeah.
And they fought. I think Amy came out on top of that one.
Yeah.
But Summer is also a USMF athlete that has so much experience too as a younger person, and now she's fighting in the adult area. Kendra is also from the Bay Area, and she has been a high-level amateur, winning a lot of fights as well. I'm hoping Ty makes it out to the tournament.
Yeah, she's coming.
Oh, that's going to be.
She posted it on the gram. That's where I get my news.
That's epic because
she's knocking people out with her elbows, punches to the body. She's getting a lot of good experience in Thailand.
She's a totally different fighter, and the experience that she's had is going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing her fight as well. A lot of these matchups are going to be great. For example, Ashley Steiner and Amy Duke would be a crazy matchup. Ty and anyone would be a crazy matchup. Corley and Ty would be an amazing matchup. That'd be sick. I'd be looking forward to this weight class as well.
I think the cool thing about this is we're going to see some interesting matchups or rematches, like Amy and Summer. I believe Ashley and Kendra fought before, and I think Kendra won that fight.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, from what I remember, but if the information's wrong, sorry. So, some of these are going to be really interesting rematches if they get matched up in the draw. And again, some of these fights you might not ever see happen. Like, for example, Amy and Ty, they have, I believe Ty is a shorter person. Amy's very tall. So, and as I just said that, I know I'm going to get a text from Amy like, oh, I'm really tall. You think I'm really tall? Yes, Amy, you're taller than me.
Amy, you're tall.
Yeah, you're tall. You're a tall person. So some of these fights are fights I don't think you would see in normal life, like these kinds of matchups.
Right.
So, moving on, featherweight, 57 kilograms. We've got Lisa Lynn, Natalie Morgan, Selena Flores, Tiara Brandt. So we got some veterans, experts in what they do. And again, small division, great fighters. Lisa Lynn and Natalie Morgan, like I said, are training together, even though they're going to fight each other soon. I think Selena, Selena and Natalie are going to rematch, right? Because they just fought online fight.
If they drew. We'll see if they draw first.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. A rumor I would like to clear up, even though there is a FAQ list coming out in the next few days. This is not a seeded tournament. I think basically they're going to put your name in a hat and pull it out like Harry Potter.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works. It's not going to be put in a fucking hat. It's
that's how I like to imagine it.
It's going to be put into a system in art. It's going to be put in a system in our sport, and it's going to be drawn just the way IFMA does. So there are no seeds. There's no pre-matches made. It's going to be done the day before the tournament. When you weigh in, you don't know who you're going to fight until that night before the tournament. And that's how IFMA works. So don't get it twisted. There are no favorites. You're going to get the luck of the draw. So be prepared for anyone.
But if you like the way that I said it, they're going to put their names in a hat and pull like a computer hat. And then they're going to... Anyways, so yeah, and we see Tiara Brandt. Tiara and Selena both have been USMF athletes. Tiara is on a tear. Get it? Because she's all right. You can talk. You can talk. Go ahead.
Anyway, even though this is a smaller category with only 4 competitors, it's a very competitive weight class.
Sure.
Everyone knows Selena and Natalie because they are probably one of the top female athletes in the professional level in the United States. Selena has just had so much experience internationally. You can really call her a world champion amateur fighter when she was an amateur. She's fought for glory, and at the world championships in 2019, she was knocking international talent out with her legs, and it was just amazing to display at Thai boxing. She lost to Thailand because Thailand had a better game plan for Selena, but that didn't take away from what she was able to accomplish in the World Championships. Tierra Brand is just a veteran. She's been fighting since she's a kid with Dan, and and the team there, and she's just been winning medal after medal, and also now fighting up in her weight class as an adult. I don't have that much experience with Lisa Lynn, but if Natalie Morgan is training with her and it's going to compete in the same weight class, that's going to be interesting. I would personally like to see Selena Flores versus Tierra Brett. I think that would be a really, really cool matchup. I think just because both of them have so much international experience, and I think that would be fireworks. And of course, who wouldn't want to see a rematch between Natalie and Selena? That would be really cool. And I'm also excited to see how Lisa Lynn does, because she's kind of like the person that is like kind of making her name at this tournament. So I think that would be really cool.
Lisa's a great fighter. I've seen her fight in New York. She's also a gym owner, which is super cool. So they own Burning Spirits Muay Thai. It's really nice to see another female gym owner, and she's out on the East Coast. The last fight I think I remember seeing from her was on Friday Night Fights, and I think maybe 2018 or 2019. I don't remember the year, but she just was super aggressive, smart fighter, knew her angles, knew how, especially these athletes, or maybe I'm just short. I feel like everybody else is just tall, but she's a tall person, knows her reach, knows how to move her body. So I think I'm really happy to see her, be on the US stage against some really awesome, you couldn't ask for better competition.
Yeah, if she's on this roster, she deserves to be here, and she's going to bring the competitive nature that we're expecting for all of our athletes. So I'm excited to see Lisa match up against these talented ladies.
Awesome. So moving forward, we have lightweight, 60 kilograms, Alexandra Lopez, Anna Toole, Becca Irwin, Chantel Perry, and Charlesy Manor. And again, all these athletes all spread out. Some of these are names that are definitely recognizable, like Becca Irwin. She was fighting for Glory. Charlesy Manor is someone I'm really stoked to see fight in this tournament. Charlesy was fighting on Friday Night Fights and was just coming in and, man, head kicking people and kind of ending that fight early, So I'm really excited to see her here. She's a fighter that I've been following for some time, and really excited to see her get this opportunity. Also, Alexandra out of Bushido Muay Thai, another great competitor. Anna Toole, I think Anna's out of Charleston, so I guess you would call that East Coast, whatever. Yeah. She's also super great. Chantel Perry has competed for the USMF before, so this is another bracket with some really great fighters.
Yeah, Becca comes in with heavily decorated as a youth athlete with multiple gold medals, silver medals, and she's fought the youngest to get to receive a Glory contract. And she's training at Corley's Gym Heritage Muay Thai, which is going to be, I know that they train like dogs, so I know she's going to want to bring home that gold medal and represent the United States, along with everyone else in this weight class, including Chantel, Charlie, Anna, and Alexandra.
Yeah, I'm just really glad to see, like I said before, some fighters that I've been following for some time, seeing them put in the work, trying to get fights, and now that hard work is paying off. Like there's opportunities for everybody. If you want to be here and you're willing to work for it, you're going to get the opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's really great that the women also have representation here in different weight classes too, and there are also women that have great experience and records. They've met the criteria. That's the bottom line. You have to meet the criteria to fight at this tournament. So anyone that's involved in this tournament is dangerous.
Sure. And so we'll finish this with our final weight division for the female qualifiers. Before we'll talk about the IFMA qualifiers, is the light welterweight, 63.5 kilograms. We have Angela Whitley, Erin Clayton, Jasmine Wu, Jocelyn Brayland, and Katrina Combs. And Angela Whitley has to be one of the most decorated USMF athletes. I think she won the President's Award in 2019. She just competed at IFMA 2021, and just veteran of the sport as well.
Yeah, I've seen her whoop since probably Cancun to Argentina to Thailand, made it to the finals. And she's also fought Serena Barnes for Lion Fight. You know, she's a competitor and she loves to fight. She's going to be probably the one with the most international experience in this weight class.
For sure. And there's Jasmine Wu out of On Fair Texas Gym. I'm really excited to see Jasmine fight. Jasmine's a great athlete, very strong. So I think that's going to be good. I'm interested to see her match up with Jocelyn. I don't know if they've ever fought before. I feel like maybe they've been in the same division before, but Jocelyn's up and coming too. So that's going to be cool. And Jasmine's from the Bay and Jocelyn's from SoCal. So Battle of California.
Right, that's going to be an interesting matchup if they do end up getting matched up. Jocelyn has also been competing for years, going to tournaments, fighting on the undercards of like Lion Fight and stuff like that. So that's going to be really interesting to see how they all do.
And we see Erin Clayton and Katrina Combs. They both come out of gyms that I think do MMA, I would say. Like Katrina comes out of Pentagon MMA and Erin Clayton comes out of Paragon Jiu-Jitsu and Kickboxing Academy. So I'm interested to see how those styles match up compared to a gym that I guess is only Muay Thai. You know, for me, my gym that I trained at in New York City, people would call it an MMA gym, and we had a really great Muay Thai program. So I'm just interested to see what this is going to look like once we get to the tournament.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an amazing women's division. Everyone that's been involved has had major experience, and just it's going to be so exciting to watch everyone just fight. It's going to be a long first day, and people should really be ready for some exciting fights because even some promoters can't put this together, like you said.
And our photographers, please be ready for Jeff to text you at 2 a.m. Are the pictures done? Anyways,
I'm knocking on doors. Pop, 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 pop. You got it done.
Yeah, I'll hide from you. So moving on to our last two brackets we're going to talk about today. It's the World Championships qualifiers. We've got a lightweight division of 60 kilograms and a super heavyweight of 91 plus kilograms. We'll start with the lightweight, which is Ethan Quiachon, Brandel Mazo. Can you read these names? I'm tired of messing it up.
Go ahead. I'll let you go first.
Okay. Ethan Quiachon, Brandel Mendoza, Kevin Rhodes, Jeff Simonelli, and Jabril Omar. Are we going to get DM'd to the Instagram like, yo, butchered my name? Thank you.
Again, Ethan is just, he's one of the probably most experienced guys out here with Brandel Mendoza in the West Coast. They just both have been probably on the same trajectory in regards to experience and amount of fights. Brandel is just a beast. He has a lot of knockout power. Ethan has amazing technical skills and power as well. Trains with Jung Sanan. Brandel trains with Josh at Aragon Training Academy, and they've trained hard as hell. Kevin Rhodes has also been an IFMA athlete as well. I think he played silver at the Pan Americans in Argentina. I could be mistaken. I think it's the silver. And then we have people from Mayish striking from the Bay Area, Jabril, and Jeff is from Chicago Thai Boxing Academy. So these people are competing for a spot on the World Championship team, not the actual World Games. The World Championship team will be going to Abu Dhabi and competing against other federations, which is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, these guys are super great. I've seen Jeff compete before at TBAs. He did very, very well. Kevin, I saw him all over the East Coast, and I'm happy he's wanting to compete for USMF again. Brandel, also super great. Ethan was out here in Amsterdam helping Matt prepare for his fight.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to hang out with all of them. And Jabril coming out of Maesh. He trains with
he also trains with Philip Ignacio as well.
Moving on, our final division, super heavyweight. We have Joe Stripling, who I believe is the person who gave Beefcake his name of Beefcake. So thank you, Joe, for that wonderful nickname. Justin Mitchell from 8 Points Muay Thai, and Sullivan Corley from Dan's Gym, who doesn't let anybody go past a round with him in Bellator. So,
yeah, Sullivan is also a medalist as well, and also has just been competing in different kickboxing and Muay Thai tournaments just to keep his skills sharp, and trains like a dog with Dan's Gym. Very explosive, young, powerful dude. It's going to be, I'd like to see him against Joe Stripling. I think that'd be a really cool matchup. And this is a 91 plus kilo, so these guys will also be going to Abu Dhabi fighting some of the world's best.
Joe is the one who went viral a few years ago for doing the Saenchai head kick on his opponent in a tournament. I don't think that's legal for this tournament, but it was really cool to see a super heavyweight do the Saenchai head kick. So
if you want to know if it's legal or not, you should be taking the coaches, referee, judge seminar with Gunter Clanch. He will explain if that's legal or not, right?
Pretty sure it's not. I just want to say I'm pretty sure it's not. But yes, take also this course. So yeah, that was our athlete breakdown. I hope you all liked our ESPN Muay Thai version of it. We do want to say what's coming up. We have an interview with Gunter, as I mentioned. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, go ahead.
We have different guests lined up, and this episode was sponsored by West Coast Muay Thai. As you see on Jeff's lovely hat, if you would like to sponsor our episodes, get a shout out. Maybe Jeff will model something. He's a Anyways, please reach out to fundraising at usamuaythai.sport if you're interested in sponsoring the USMF, sponsoring our episodes. We'll put your links on our social media and our Spotify. I hope you're listening to this on Spotify because it was very hard to get this set up on Spotify. And
good job, Terry.
Thank you very much. And yeah, we will be hosting an episode as well at the Qualifiers. I'm gonna knock on Jeff's door at 4 a.m. and say, tell me what you're thinking about right now, just as long-awaited payback. Anyways, please donate to the USMF. Please buy tickets, support the athletes, support the sport, and thank you all for tuning in.